We're about to make a horrible decision right now. Florida things, buying an airboat. It's a pretty cool boat. What do you think, Liam?
It's a decent boat.
Bought my first airboat from Bobby. There it is. It's in the Gulf.
What happened? It just blew it?
Blew a hose off and just overheated it super hot.
Hey, is this not the kill here?
No.
No, because
This is the kill and it doesn't.
it didn't fucking want to shut off.
Damn it.
Fuel line, but I didn't know how messy it is.
That it is, sir.
Alright, we're out here and we're stopped.
We are out here and we are stopped. Correct.
What happened?
This is a small block Chevy, boys. Don't ever get yourself one of those. And when you do, double, triple check everything. It's actually not the engine's fault. So this hose blew off. I had all my safeties on my ECU set to warn me, but this time it just failed. No, so we're just driving. It makes an awful lot of noise. You're not really thinking about much, but we looked back. I'm like, oh, there's a little water back there. So I turned the bilge pump on to, clear the water out. And then Liam's like, whoa, 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 shut it off, shut it off, shut it off. Then we go to shut it off. Of all things, you shut it off, pull the key out. It wants to stay running then and there when the hose blew off and it's at like 240 degrees. Then I didn't know what to do, so I cut the wire to the fuel pump. Liam's trying to choke out, he's trying to get this cover off so he could cover put his hand over whatever he's gonna do, block air to the engine because it wouldn't shut off. Great, doesn't want to shut off. I mean, we don't have a lot of time with this engine and setup, but shut off every other time. Not when it's overheating though. So then, cut the fuel line. Eventually it died, but it sounded like it died because it got so hot. We're only at 1,200 probably now, which isn't really that hot. Lost a lot of water. Don't know how this engine will deal with being overheated to 240, which I know if it was one of the 2Js, you'd be like, yeah, it's okay. Don't think about it, but this, maybe it's not good. I don't know, we'll find out. Look at this. It got so pissed it blew that gasket out.
On both sides?
Both sides. Because it was freaking out hot and it was like a runaway diesel for a second. We couldn't shut it off. You know those old Detroit diesels when they ran away from you guys? You guys know all about that.
So are you already putting a 2J in here?
Oh my God.
That was quick.
We got about 10 minutes of seat time and we had our first major issue.
You're doing good though.
I mean, it's just
Only threw me out of the boat 3 times.
Yeah, it's just a boat. I mean, we were starting to figure out.
I admit I kind of held onto the handle a little tighter every once in a while.
Damn. Wait, the header's not even hot.
You've got a good co-pilot.
Yeah.
Liam's been showing us around here, pointing out all the oyster barges. Is that what you call them?
Yeah, oyster bars.
Oyster bars. Oh, bars.
Bars, yeah.
Gotcha. He just can't get away from it.
So,
if you want to work on stuff, just say so.
I don't care to mind working on so I just want to cooperate. Alright guys, rule number 1. I don't know, don't buy a boat. So, blew the head gasket for sure. Hey man, are you filming? I think we blew the head gasket on this side for sure because water came out of the spark plug holes. Both of the middle ones. These two here. Cylinder 3, cylinder 5. Head gasket's definitely compromised there. And then you said the same on that side, right?
Yeah.
The middle two, I think on both, I don't know which numbers are the middle on that side, but those two and these two, definitely seeing water in the cylinder. You ever wanted to work on a small block Chevy? I guess now's the time to learn. Typically don't like to work on stuff that's older than like late 80s, but I guess we're doing it. Best case scenario, you gotta take the intake manifold and all that. It's actually very simple, but take that off, pull the heads off, deck the heads. Probably you're okay after you deck the heads. New head gasket, torque it all back down, send it on its way. Change the oil, obviously. Worst case scenario, something happened to the bottom end, but it's an iron block. I'm thinking no, unless this guy's previously to me blown his radiator hose off several times. I don't know. Knowing me, I'm gonna put ANs on the rest of this, like -20s on here. Wouldn't be too hard. Just pull the radiator off, weld a bung on that and that, or put it, I already have a different radiator that has ANs on it. Then all I need to do is weld the AN on that and on the water pump over there. It's probably what I'll do so that we don't think about this stuff ever again. That's so stupid. Guess you gotta learn from your mistakes though. Yeah, we're still trying to get out of here, so we're doing like calling everyone that could possibly drop what they're doing and come pull us out. Liam probably found someone.
Yeah. It's gonna take him a little bit to get here. But...
Let's crank this and see if it spits. There's your water. Sorry, engine that I didn't like. I ruined you already. I wish I could have ruined it by being mean to it. Someone else's hose job sucked. Kind of did a nut and bolt check on this, but I don't know, it's new to me. I didn't pick the right things to address, I guess. Man, depressing. Okay, see you guys later.
Here we are. We're trying to beat low tide. Is that the idea, Dan?
Well, like, it's hard to send someone exact location, and Liam has one of his buddies coming to get us. He wants us to be further out to just the Gulf because we went down in this little river, creek. Yeah, and the tides were close. We're at high tide like an hour ago, so it's on its way down. We gotta figure this out.
Let's get the video on there. I might fall.
I hope not.
What are you trying to do? Gonna fall in. Alright, step one. Found some guys fishing. There's a structure on there and we climbed, we had walked our way out, way up there. Liam basically walked the bank for like miles, I don't know how long, and we kept it off. We saw that structure, then these guys came along towing us out, and we're waiting for his buddy Chris. Which we don't know where he's at exactly, he's on the way. And the crazy thing is we're only like 15 minutes or less. Direct shot.
Like the oyster bar's coming up in front of us.
But yeah, it's very shallow around here. We're making our way back, and then later, gotta pull that thing apart because we gotta fix it so we can go for round 2 again. Gotta do it. Do you guys look? There's oyster bars sticking up out of the water right there. That's how shallow it is. See, there's another structure on that little island. I guess this guy knows his way real well. He's gonna clear it, but he definitely draws more than we do because we're just shallow airboat. Round 2, we got our buddy Chris up there. This is our rescue team. Chris and his girl. They are gonna pull us the remaining mile probably back to the boat launch. And then we take the motor apart real quick and see how messed up it is. From talking to the neighbors, the old men, we could call them, that this motor's in their you know, generation, small block Chevy from like the 60s or whatever these are from. They're like, okay, so you'll be okay. The bottom end's probably fine. So we just gotta get the heads off, deck them, back together, try again. Gotta have it done by like Saturday or Sunday, maybe. We'll see if we can.
Saturday. We got to ride Saturday.
Oh gosh. Long days ahead.
I'll be there to help.
We'll make it happen.
We made it back.
We made it back.
Good job, guys.
This makes me love boats even more.
We were all the way out there.
All right, guys, so you knew what the plan was. We forgot to film when we got back. You know how I get really into just working on it. So dug right in, radiator's out. Those hoses are going in the garbage. Those are what killed the motor. There's a lot of water in the cylinders, but we're gonna have these heads off maybe in the next half hour, and then we'll get to see the pistons and if whatever damage is in there. But probably just rip the head gasket because it doesn't have like, pretty sure the head gasket is similar to this, like just like that like Felpro type shit where it's like gasket material. It's not like the steel multi-layered gaskets, so they're easily overheated. That's the first thing that goes, apparently. We're trying to get these roller rockers off properly. I just talked to Matt Field real quick because he's the V8 guy in my life that I know. So asked him and he's like, when they're loose like this, not under pressure, take those ones off and then rotate the motor, and you know, which is rotating the cam and taking pressure off whichever one would be firing or not firing, and we're just gonna slowly take them off, label them all correctly so we can put them back in correctly. Technically 2 valves per cylinder. So if you think a 2J has 4 valves per cylinder, less valves, less springs right here. So there's less actually. One cam, they have 2 heads. So if you had a dual overhead cam V8, yeah, holy shit, that'd be a lot of parts. Has some cool parts. They look blue to me. They might be purple. What do you guys think? They're blue. Cool. They're blue.
Liam's been helping out.
We're almost there, guys. It's 4 in the morning. We've been up all night.
Just got back in.
This isn't FD.
It's like 7 at night. Yeah. It's actually pretty easy going so far. Lots of work happened. Ripped all this stuff apart. We were looking good till we weren't. This is driver, I don't know, left side of the motor. Second cylinder in, which would be, what would that be? Cylinder. V8 people know. Whatever, this one. Straight destroyed the piston. God, that pisses me off. I don't know the history of this motor. It was like, it ran good though. I don't know, it's just a carbureted, like built up small block Chevy. Not my first choice. I would want an LS engine, but this was supposed to just work. Had the right setup for it. Works pretty good. Was letting us do what we wanted. All of a sudden, just ripped that hose off, and there's no like warnings on this or anything. It's, if you've ever been on an airboat, super loud. You're wearing like headphones. You can't, there was no indication, and like you're just looking at these gauges, but it's like a tough lesson to learn and an expensive one. Yeah, I've had engine stuff happen before. Big, expensive, nice engine stuff happen where it like smokes the head on a 2J where you have to take the whole thing apart even though the bottom end seems to be okay, but like chunks of metal from your head go in, so like you're like metal in the oil kept pumping, it went everywhere. You got to take it all down and like start fresh. So I've spent tons of money on engines over the years, but I usually get to use them a lot longer than I got to use this one, and I don't want to take this apart. I just wanted to use it. So now I got to rip the back of this off, pull bottom end out, yank the pan off, put everything in boxes. I could probably then move the boat outside out of my way, which mostly it'll live in here, but just hose off that gross coolant mixed with oil, a little bit spilled. Get that all out. Take this to the local machine shop. My buddy Bob will do this one. Probably at that point, it's like, well, all new bearings. Do we need a different oil pump because this one has wear? Yeah, I don't know. It's just a money pit. Why? Oh, it's frustrating. I don't like this engine. I don't want to spend money on it. What I want to do, you guys know what I really want to do, is put a 2J in this, or an LS3 that's like has like a cam and a melling oil pump or something. Just like reliable 450 horsepower modern engine with fuel injected. And look at this wiring. Like, you guys know how I like to make stuff all clean and stuff. So I was like, oh, it'll just work for a year while I like build my plan for what I'm gonna do. But then it breaks like instantly, absolutely instantly. Quite sad. It had some nice parts in it though. Probably not gonna be too expensive to fix. 2J parts are so much more expensive than small block Chevy parts. So we'll fix it, but I'm sad, guys. Let's see how far I can get with it over the next couple days. I'll film a little bit and like tell you what the plan is. We're gonna have to wait for the fun airboat rides and kind of exploring the backcountry over here by where we live. Not happy, but that's where we're at. Quick update. Tore into this guy completely. Showed you guys briefly that we had a messed up spot on the head. Yeah, that guy, where part of the, I showed you the piston briefly too. So pulled the pan off. Cool thing about a small block Chevy, they're old. But the cool thing is you don't have like a front main seal or rear main seal that kind of catches an edge under it, where you, like how a 2J or I think the newer LS would be pretty hard to do this too. You can't just drop the pan effortlessly. It's been a while since I worked on a new LS. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but this was the easiest pan to take off ever. Ever. It has like a rubber gasket that kind of doesn't seal great because whatever. Things have progressed since this time when this motor was, but I liked that part. Here we go. Torched. So looks to me, usually when I see a torch piston, it looks a little different than that, but this was timing, I think. So I don't know if it's like combination of radiator hose blew off and the timing was high and then the heat rose and then it did the runaway because it's so hot on a distributor engine, I guess it just runs away. I don't know, that's some new crap to me. But anyways, it wouldn't shut off. You guys saw in the video. Anyways, good news is there was no heat in any of the rods. Look at this, it's got billet main caps. It's a dart block. It's not like I got screwed on this purchase because if you're a small block Chevy guy, this is like the real deal motor. Not my interest. I do not like carburetors. Plan here, we're gonna clean up that with a hone. Multiple different settings are like the, you know, there's like the ball hone and the other one. We're gonna go through it and try and get like the cross hatches back in that. Just manually with a drill right here. And bought a new piston, got new rings, got some head gaskets, all the things. On the way, heading over to my buddy Bob's shop down the street. He's a small block Chevy dude. He actually loves old school Mopar engines, like 340s and stuff, but he does plenty of small block Chevy stuff. So we're gonna go over there, drop the heads off. He's gonna get those dialed for us and then see where we're at on that. And then I should have the new piston in the next day. I did it overnight, but I didn't get tracking, so probably be tomorrow, Saturday, probably get it like Monday or Saturday. Try and get this thing back going in the next like 4 days, then go see if it'll run. I think we'll be fine. Also, what Bob says, he's like, sometimes these, it's not all the same, but it's kind of, he said it's not the best casting and like one of the cylinders will run lean compared to the others. Could be that, could be the dude that sold it to me knew there was some injury there on this piston and just wanted to get rid of it, but kind of don't think so. I think it was just like all the things lined up perfectly to kind of screw us on our first outing with the boat. Unfortunately, I'd like to just think that he meant good when he sold it to us. So something else I'm gonna do is pull the water pump off so I can weld an AN on that. I'm gonna weld a ORB though, female ORB union, so I can, not union, bung, so I can put an ORB union in there. The reason I like to do that is because then, see how this is like, this has female threads in it, that's part of the upper water neck, and then that's a union. Let's say you had this off and you like ding it and then it's hard to thread it in. You just replace the union, like 20 bucks or whatever it is. Instead of you have like a ding on a piece that's welded on, if you had a male tip on there welded on, you kind of got to cut it off and re-weld it or try and fix the threads on a big aluminum thing. So I always do it the other way. So we're gonna do that. Gonna find some hose. I think I've got plenty of hose because I did so many rear radiator cars. I even have hose that I like wouldn't want to use on my race car anymore because I always like evolve to the next best thing. So look, this is just your normal -20 hose. that uses like the 2-piece fittings that I just showed you on the practice Supra, how it doesn't have crimp fittings. Or I do have the big bad boy stuff, but this stuff's like $30 or more a foot. Yeah, I don't think the boat deserves that, but between the 2 fitting styles, this is a crimp one, which I have the crimp machine, so this is a dash 16, then I'll run 20 on that. Crimp one's even more expensive. I don't think the boat gets that till I put a different motor in the boat. All right, let's go to the machine shop down the street, get this figured out. I'll update you guys in a little bit here, trying to get this thing running ASAP so we can get back out there and go play with it. This thing's gonna be so much fun. All right, guys, update. Worked on the boat in between stuff here at the shop yesterday. Decided that we need to pull out all these pistons, the rods and pistons. Jim really wanted to see one of them, he says, and see how freely the rings would move in the, you know, where they're supposed to be in the piston. Most of them were okay, but 2 or 3 of them, like the ring won't rotate. Here's one of them. Well, one's toasted, this one, and then this one, and this one, we took the top ring out. We're just super stuck, like the ring won't move at all. So Jim thinks it'll happen again. Maybe not as quick or as bad, but he's like, you gotta fix that. So we got all new rings. We're gonna re-ring it. That's just a pain, but probably save us in the future from checking on some stuff. I think I showed you that we're switching that intake because everyone said the one I had is only for top end or something like that. I welded this bung on here, so now I have an ORB bung like I mentioned I was gonna do, I think, and dash 20, this will be where the hot water comes out back to the radiator. This is where it sucks it in for the pump, and I took the pump off, welded that on there. So we're getting ready to plumb it with AN lines. Something else I noticed is that this isn't set up right. The only thing this would be is a recovery tank at this point, but it has a cap. Recovery tanks don't need a pressurized cap. So technically this needs to be an expansion tank, which means there would be a hose from here to a recovery tank. This needs to have like a dash 10 that goes back that feeds to the water pump, and you could probably feed it back in here and it will like recirculate back into itself, and this will relieve all the bubbles, will stay in here, and any air pockets will make its way into here and stay in there, and it'll kind of keep everything proper like so we do on the race cars. So what I was thinking is, the reason that I thought about this was 2 reasons, I guess. The other radiator he had in there didn't have like the bleeder off the top of the opposite side of the radiator. Well, I guess it's not a dual pass, but so what I do, this is the radiator that used to be in one of my race cars. You can see it's kind of been repurposed already once. I'm gonna do it again now. So what I did is weld this bung on here. Those are those cups and bungs I sell. We're about to use more of those guys. This one's got the bleeder, so this will also feed back to that expansion tank. So I need to take that off, weld 2 bungs into that, and I'm gonna work on mounting this up. Let me show you guys real quick, cups and bungs. Here is a cup and bung if you're mounting like a radiator. So I weld this bung onto the radiator, and then this cup can bolt directly to that, and then you'll take a tube, like a smaller piece of tubing, and that'll go back to somewhere else, and then you'll take a steel version of one of those, weld that somewhere else, and then with another cup, and then you can remove that, and that'll be like the top of the radiator, help you mount it. So then you can remove that piece that you don't need. Instead of hard mounting it, they had it like hard mounted kind of with like a through bolt thing with 1/4-inch tabs that could probably hold an engine up. They were so thick and strong, but we'll make it a little lighter and easier to access, remove. I'll show you in a second when I do it. So meantime, we are waiting for a new set of rings. Tried to get them overnighted. They messed up on the shipping, so I'll get them next week. And 1 piston. The bearings don't look amazing, but they don't look bad. Like, here's the bearings. You can see the top part of the rod is doing most of the wear, where the bottom part of the rod looks, you know, very minimal wear on it. See how you can see that? It's like a slight bit of wear on the top. So I haven't decided yet if I put new bearings in it or not, but don't think I'm going to. I think I'll just run thicker oil, and those just have some wear on it, but bearings get wear on them. I don't know, I gotta get working on it. So today I'm mounting the radiator, checking on more plumbing, and working on that expansion tank. I think I'm gonna remount this fuel pump because they had that mounted pretty horrible. Just trying to make things make sense. Some of this plumbing was just absolutely the shittiest AN plumbing ever, and you guys know me and my AN plumbing, so gonna fix some of it and make it a little nicer, and then hopefully have it like as close back together as I can, minus the parts I'm waiting on, you know, something like that. So back to it, I'll keep you guys updated. All right guys, this is Bob. Bob's the local machinist that's small block Chevy. Told you guys about him, it was yesterday, but same video here. He likes 340 Dodges.
Of course.
So tell him what we did to the heads.
They were China syndromed. The ceiling rings were embedded into the deck surface badly. It took 30 thousandths to clean up the damage on the deck. And the intake openings were real small, so we had to match them to the CNC work. But yeah, they're good to go. I mean, they were just China syndrome, but aluminum's forgivable. So back in action, a little smaller chamber.
It literally looked like we had like Trey Gray style, like where you put a ring head gasket where it has a ring on the, well, the block didn't have this, but like he said, it was embedded. Like right here, you would run your finger. I showed you guys the heads, but I didn't explain how bad they were. Like you would have a groove, like almost a full circle of a groove, and I'm like, oh, they ringed it, and Bob's like, no, you got it so hot it like melted together and changed the surface. So there, like he said, we gained compression, which we did not want, because that's 30 thousandths is way too much to take off of something, but we're doing it. Changing the head gasket thickness to a little thicker. All right, the battery died on that last clip. Bob and I were saying he had to take 30 thousandths off the heads, which you don't ever really want to take that much off. Possible you can do it, but he had to do that because they were a little bit warped and it got so hot. So they're good now, but to get the compression back where it was, we have to use a thicker head gasket, but we're gonna use a multi-layer MLS Cometic gasket. Kind of explained that already, but we gotta wait on that though, because no one had it in stock, but Cometic can make it, but it'll ship out on Thursday, so I probably won't get it till Friday or Saturday. Disappointing. Wanted it right away, but check. Okay, wait. It's been several hours. It's dark outside. Let me show you all the progress. So radiator's in and mounted. Bottom, it has rubber bushing, so it cushions itself. Top is just kind of held in place with these brackets I made. Since this is a boat in water and sometimes salt water, gotta take these off, spray them with some, I don't know, they're gonna eventually rust. Everything's gonna rust, it's a boat. Look, you can see the stainless likes to rust. But I got that thing leveled. It's like spaced perfectly. It's all set up, and then I've been doing plumbing, as you can see. So I eliminated, there's a radiator cap. They had 3 radiator caps, one on a radiator, one on the top of the thermostat housing, and one on the so-called expansion tank. These people don't know how like a radiator system works apparently, so let me run this through to you guys real quick. Your highest point needs to have the cap, so that's all we got now is a cap. I can fill the system and the engine up right here by pulling this cap off, but that's not gonna like release any pressure. That's just basically an ORB-16 ORB cap. So that, I'll fill it up and probably rarely ever take that cap off unless something bad happened and you gotta like add fluid, but you can always add from up there, start it, and like this will pull into, I'll show you. But so what you want is everything sealed, and then the highest point is your radiator cap, and then when it starts to overheat, which they didn't have this goes to your recovery tank, goes in the bottom, and then it has this much room, which is about a liter. I think this one's only a 1 liter, to fill up and then hopefully catch back up with itself. And if it doesn't catch back up and it needs to keep pissing hot water, it's gonna come here and it's gonna spray right there, and I'm gonna see it by my feet, so that's like a warning. So I will see water spraying there and be like, wait, what's that? And I'm also gonna put a red light switch when it gets to 200 temp. It warns me. 200's not that hot, but like I want it to run at 180 or 185. Then on top of that, they had all the ports capped. This is a different intake manifold we're using. It's like an air rise one, gives you a little bit low end, mid range better torque and stuff. it won't rev as high, but this engine can't rev high because it's got the prop and that can't spin past 3,000 RPM. It's got the 2.55 reduction gear thing, so this red line's at like, I don't know, close to 6,000 probably, and keeps that going at like 2,200 or something. You'd have to do the equation. So this will bleed off. Any air bubbles here will come here. Any air bubbles, so that's gonna grab both sides of the front of the head. This is both sides of the back of the head. They both come up here. This is gonna come from the top of the radiator up to here. Any air bubbles there, because it's a sealed radiator, settle down in here in your expansion tank. And then if you come over here to this side, a dash 10 at the bottom is gonna be pulled back in to the water pump. So I've added a dash 10 to the water pump. This dash 10, I can also put a port there if I needed to, but I don't think I will. I ended up using this one in particular because it was hard to get a wrench on it, and I could get a crescent on that because it has more surface area to put the crescent on. That's the only reason I use that one. So I don't think I'll use that port. I just capped it. And then when you see the other side, you saw my dash 20 lines I did. The only fitting I don't have here to complete the system is this. I need a dash 20 that's a 60 degree, and I didn't have one at the shop. So I'll order that, probably get it around the same time as the head gaskets. And then I'll build this line after the heads are on, because I don't know the interference that might happen right here. I need to plan that hose accordingly to when the heads are on. And then I have to build that dash 6 over here, but I have a video of me walking around the motor like 4 times that I've been referencing for clearance and stuff, and then I keep holding the header up on that side to make sure those dash 20s don't interfere with the header. I'll make that dash 6. I don't like his fuel lines either. They're like the cheapest fuel hose you can get with Red Horse fittings. Those are all in the garbage, and I'm gonna put better fuel lines. The last bracket I have to build is for the fuel pump, because they had it mounted to like the edge of the old radiator, which is shit, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna make a bracket that has nut zerts so I can, it's like the people that build these airboats just through bolt everything are like self-tappers, and can't handle it, guys. Just making it a proper race car in the airboat. I'll do that, a couple other things, but that's a bunch of progress. Maybe some of it wasn't necessary, but once this boat gets a 2J, that radiator is good to go, right guys? That would be cool. Turbo 2J with an intercooler and an airboat. Time to get back to it, but that was the update. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of the airboat. Look at where I'm at. 2Js, we're in the 2J room. There's a lot more that needs to be filmed on the airboat and a little bit more work to be done. So you're gonna have to watch that in the next episode, because I informed you guys on all of the stuff I was fixing, and that's a long episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for when I get this thing running.